So welcome to the Talent is Timeless 2024 Competition Winners Interview Series. I'm here with the global winner of the 2024 competition, Jamie Manning from Boston. Jamie, how are you today?
Quite well. Thank you very much, Saskia.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Congratulations on winning with your fabulous song, Road Signs. Tell me about your winning song.
Sure. So the Road Signs is from an album I wrote called What Remains, and it tells the stories of parents who are raising children with, in this case, autism or special needs in general. And it can be a very isolating and difficult experience, as well as a joyful and wonderful experience when you're raising a child who is, quote, different, right? Who sees the world differently, who is affected by the world differently, because it's rare that you can do the things or have the experiences that a neurotypical child would do, right? So in some of the songs I talk about, and it's mostly focused on mothers, right? Because that relationship is so intimate. But, I use lines like walking past kids playing baseball games and things like that, where you want to be involved, you want your child to be involved, but because of who they are and the direction they go in, it's just off the table. So the album seeks to sort of balance these stories that are sometimes sad, but also sometimes joyful. And that's really what it's all about, is that you're living an unusual and often difficult life, but there's also a lot of joy within it. So
Beautiful.
this particular song, sorry, Road Signs, is about, this does tell the story from a father's point of view. And in this case, the father, is raising a child on the spectrum, one who's more involved, meaning maybe nonverbal, and very difficult experience for him. And he gets to a boiling point where he just takes off, gets in his car and drives. And in the song, the story picks up where he is sort of at the end of the outbound journey, where he's still feeling some excitement and feels that he's free and is leaving this all behind, but it slowly sinks into him that that's not the case, that what he really loves and what he really needs is back in the other direction, at home. So it sort of takes this evolution from excitement that he's, on the road, to sitting and thinking about his life and what is he doing, and ends with him basically figuring it out and going back home, right? So yeah.
Beautiful. Are you often public about your experience of raising a child with autism and how that is influencing and, becoming a focal point for your music?
Yeah, generally. I mean, my son is what they call high functioning. So he's verbal and he's been to university and things like that. But it's still that tug of war with him, where he's high functioning enough to know how to live life and things, but not so much that he can't get over that chasm into full social interaction that we all take so much for granted. So yes, I have, I do talk about it. I, of course, clear it with him, right? I told him when he was a little kid that I was writing this album, about him. And he knows that I won this contest and things like that. So yeah, I do talk about it pretty openly with his permission.
Have you played the music to him?
Oh yeah, certainly.
What does he say?
He got teary-eyed a couple times
Oh,
because he realizes the amount of love and respect that both I and of course my wife have for him, and how much he means to us. So yeah, I've played the songs and he really he appreciates it.
you're making me teary-eyed as well. That's beautiful.
It's hard for me to say this without. Yeah. Yeah.
I can understand. It's a real lived experience for you. And clearly that authenticity comes through in your song. And when I
Mm.
first heard the song, I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't even know the story behind it, and I was just moved by the song as a song in its own right. And it was very moving to find out why you wrote it and what that was about. Jay, since I happen to have you with us, we have here Jay Mystery of Jam Records, who's one of the many people who are offering a prize to our global winner here, Jamie. So, Jay, since I have you here, I just wanted to ask you, do you remember what your first, initial thoughts and feelings were on hearing Jamie's song?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think what I really liked about it was, apart from lyrically, it's just the it was the music reminded me a lot of Bruce Springsteen, and I love Bruce Springsteen. So it was just kind of the way that it flowed, and it flowed beautifully. The playing was great, and yeah, I was just very excited when I heard it. And it went, as most people probably know now, the way that it works is that us judges get like all the tracks, well, after they've been, sort of truncated into maybe 30 or 40 tracks, and we have to listen to them over and over and over again, because then you have to judge them. And I was really glad that this one in particular was my favorite. So and it won the global prize. So yeah, I was very, very excited about
Mm.
Yeah.
Imagine how I felt.
it.
Well, Jamie, I was going to ask you, how did you feel when we called out your name and announced you as the global winner? You did happen to be with us live in the moment. Not all the winners were, but how did that feel to you? Take us inside that moment.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I take a sort of
You were sitting right there.
yeah, exactly. I take a very pragmatic approach to these things, right? So it's like when I saw I think there were what 5,500 entries. So I'm like, okay, so you're one of 5,500. And then I watched it progress. You put out the long list, and I saw my name on it, and that's great. And then you sent the short list, and I didn't see my name on it. And then I went, oh, whatever. And then I went back again and saw my name on it, and I'm like, oh wow, I have a shot here. And I believe in the songs that I wrote, right? I know that they're good. Um, but that's my opinion, of course. And I also think to myself, well, these are very specific songs about a specific topic. So, but anyway, when I heard that, needless to say, I just started trembling. I mean, it was just like, wow, for just because as a writer, um, as opposed to a performer. I mean, I did sing and stuff, but I consider myself mostly a writer. What you seek is recognition, right? You're not in it necessarily for the fame or the this or the that, but you want to know, like any other craftsman, any other crafts person, that what you did has meaning and that people really enjoy it, whether it's a piece of furniture or this, and in my case, a song. So it was a real feather in the cap, a real just that feeling of wow, people out there get this, and it did resonate, and that's a remarkable feeling.
Mm, beautiful. You have a remarkable way of making me. I'm feeling all the emotions as you're speaking. You're an amazing public speaker. Have you
Thank you.
have you had practice in this?
Oh yeah. So I've done a lot of public speaking. A lot of those trips to London that we talked about were for me to give talks at conferences and things like that. So
Oh, fabulous. It really shows. Yeah, you
thanks.
communicate very, very well. I really have a feeling for what you're saying. And it's beautiful to hear your story, your inspiration behind the song. And it's beautiful to hear what it means to people when they enter. This was a free contest and a lot of people entered. And one
Yeah,
of my huge regrets is that we can't validate everyone who entered.
right.
Of 5,500 entries, there were 5 that won. And one thing we'll do differently in the coming year is to separate a lot more categories, a lot more genres, a lot more countrywide things, because so many people deserve that recognition. And it's just the nature of contests that it just can't be. At some point there is a winner, and it was so, it was so close. The scores were all so close together across the board. There are a lot of amazing songs. And
Yeah.
yours did emerge as the winner, the favorite song of the 5,500, and it is a very deserving song.
Oh, thank you.
Last little thing on your song, I was just curious
Yeah.
to understand what kind of message that you were hoping to convey to people through your song.
Yeah. Really, you just want to convey, similar to sort of poetry, is just like a feeling, right? And to try and make that feeling universal, or find out or understand sort of the human condition, which is awfully big thing to say. But you resonate with the human condition by expressing your own condition, right? And just, I don't know, hope or try to convey to other people what it's like for, in this case, myself, and know that there are other people out there who may be feeling the same thing. Not in the, and that's the thing about this particular tune, is it's more general in nature, right? You can come to this song from any number of perspectives and appreciate it, which is why I entered it. It's not autism specific.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's what you always hope when you write a song, is to know that there are others out there feeling the same way, maybe in different contexts, but feeling a similar way, and let that sort of wash over them. And that's the music part of it, is to try, how do I support this song with the right vibe, with the right instrumentation, with the right this, to sort of get an entire package out there.
Hmm. Well, clearly it is resonating with people.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what role music has played in your life. You mentioned that you've been to London on business. Have
Yeah.
you been a professional musician? Have you always been a songwriter? Yeah, what role has music played in your life, Jamie?
Sure. No, I've been a musician my whole life. I started when I was 6, playing drums. I grew up playing jazz drums. I went to, my undergraduate degree was in classical percussion and jazz percussion. Then I got a graduate degree in conducting. So,
Wow.
so I sort of have run the spectrum musically, and I played professionally for about 15 years. Nightclubs. I got a chance to play with some big names while I played percussion for Aretha Franklin, and I played drums for Carly Simon and things like that. Right, younger people may not recognize the names, but
I
um,
recognize those
yeah,
names.
that's good. So I had a fulfilling musical career,
You're
and I
not
just got
still in touch, are you?
no, Aretha's sadly gone, and
Oh.
I just played that one gig for Carly Simon, and that was it. And that's usually the case when you're a freelance musician. You sort of go in and you go out, and thank you very much. Here's the check. So, but yeah,
Okay.
so
So you were
since
doing all
then,
this jazz drumming. You were out there. You were performing with big names.
yep. And then the thing about the music world, especially when you're a player, is rough, because you are, for that gig with Aretha, it was a high and I made a good paycheck. But then the next night, literally, I was playing at a jazz club and I think I made $5. So it's just that kind of business. Isaac, I think it was Isaac Stern who hit the nail on the head. He said, "Music is a wonderful profession. It's a terrible business," right? And I don't mean to pan the music industry, but we all know that it's that kind of business. You're up one day, down the next. And so when I was finishing graduate school, I had met my wife, and I thought, well, I've been a musician for so long. What else is out there? And then once we had a child and learned that he had autism, then that's sort of, that's literally a one door closes, door closes behind you, which is literally a lyric from the album, right? A door closes behind you and what's behind you is gone, more or less. So I was in the business world and that just became my life. But I've always written, because that's one thing you can do, in a part-time setting, right? Like the equipment behind me here, I can still write and I can still record. And that's what I've put my energy into, is doing that. I still play out on occasion, still play jazz clubs and things like that. But for the most part, I've gotten into writing, and I'm so glad I did, because it's so fulfilling thing to do, to
Hmm.
sort of create something from nothing. Anyway, that's been the musical journey.
That's fascinating to hear. Absolutely fascinating. And there's probably lots of elements in that story that Talent is Timeless members will relate to.
Yeah.
Some of them were in music and kind of gave it up for a stable career to raise a family. Some
Yep.
of them always played, but they never quite made it to a stage, even though they wanted to. And
Yeah.
one of our central themes is that it's not too late. We love, you know, if you feel like the ship has sailed, we love bringing the ship back around. And seeing what it's like to reconnect with music at a later stage. And any professional musician I know, if they're not just in their 20s and in that first stage of it, they've had many phases of a musical career, and it hasn't all been one thing, and they've been in and they've been dropped and they've been up and they've been down and they've picked it up again, and they've decided to do it for themselves. You know, music is a lifelong journey. The industry might come and go, but music is for all people at all stages of life, at all times. And it serves so many functions, you know, personally and for oneself in terms of healing and processing, and socially, you know, for fun or for a collective healing, or it could be a profession. And in the industry, it sounds like you've actually seen quite a few of those facets of what it means to be involved with music in your life.
Yes, most definitely. And you know, what's going on here, having won this competition and met you and Jay and everybody, it's been great because it's just sort of revitalized things for me musically. And that's quite an understatement. I mean, to have what's going on. I mean, to be a musician and to know you're going to record something at Abbey Road, it doesn't get any better. You know, I mean, people of my age, we're all, of course, huge Beatles fans, right? And to know the sort of what's sticking to the walls in that place is just extraordinary.
Well, you're gonna be one of those people walking through those halls, looking at all the pictures on the walls that you can't take photos of, and and feeling the energy of all the
Mhm.
people that have been there before. So we're really excited to book a date with you there and to
Mhm.
welcome you to Abbey Road. Two more questions for you, just quick
Yeah,
ones here.
sure.
What are your future goals and aspirations and hopes and dreams?
Yeah. So I'm really excited to use this as a chance to collaborate, right? So, you know, speaking of isolation, sometimes when you're a songwriter, you get isolated, right? And you know, that's always been an issue for me as I get too much into thinking, okay, I can do all this, right? You can't, right? If there's anything you learn with age, it's that you can't do all this. And certainly, you can't do everything all the time, is what I mean. And especially with this contest and hearing other people's songs and realizing how much talent is out there, it's like, my God, right? Let's collaborate, share something, you know, and get out there. You know, lyrics take me forever to write because I overthink it sometimes, right? So, you know, working with someone that says, bingo, here you go, right? It can speed up the process and it can bring in a whole different perspective that makes the work that much better or so much better. So I think that's the biggest thing I'm looking to take here is to network like crazy with some of my fellow songwriters and the people I meet along the way, and just to say, hey, let's go, let's write, right? I'm really good with melody. Someone's very good with lyrics. We have a great producer, right? Just mix it all together and just enjoy the process. And I think that's, if I was to wrap all this up in a nutshell, that's it. I intend to enjoy every minute of not just Abbey Road and those things, but what happens afterwards, and just make sure I make the time to work with people.
That's beautiful. As you know, we're big on collaboration at Talent is Timeless. I personally believe that music is a social, it's a function of relationships. It's a message, it's a
Yeah,
communication. Even when you haven't quite found an audience, you're speaking in between, you know, in the in between of things, in your life experiences, the people you've spoken to, messages
yeah,
that you want to share with others, that it is inherently social. And it can be hard to collaborate at times because we can feel quite precious about our
yes,
music and our songwriting.
yeah,
But even within that, we're able to share with one another. And I really want to encourage people to take that exact message and
yep,
work together, or share your songs with other people, or meet other people who are doing what you're doing, because you get so much more energy to do those things when you talk about it and share it with other people. And I think
yep,
there's something particular about songwriting as well. You really share a very personal aspect of who you choose to be, who you are creatively.
Right.
And in, you know, with a sense of freedom of you could do anything, but you choose to songwrite. It's not you as a career person. It's not you as a family member, you know, brother, husband, father, son, all of those things.
Yeah.
It's you in your own kind of essence as a way. And when you connect with people through songwriting and through music, you make very deep and very personal connections. And those are obviously, for me, that's what life is all about. And I love connecting with people through music. And I've loved chatting with you. And I've loved chatting with Jay as well. It's nice to catch up with you too. I'll leave you both with a question. Actually, Jay, I'll come to you first. Just anything that you want to share with Jamie and with the other people that entered the contest this year, and then Jamie, I'll ask you the same. But Jay, first of all.
Well, I'm just really looking forward to the recording, and working with Jamie, as we were talking earlier. This is a collaborative thing. And you were talking about collaborations. Well, that can come in, songwriting guises, but it can also come in other guises as well. And I feel like, as the label and the publisher, that's what I look forward to, collaborating with people like you, Jamie, who I've never met before, and and listening to your music, listening to your story, then trying, my hardest to make sure that a lot more people listen to that music too. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is trying to spread the word.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And Jamie, anything you'd like to share with the other people that entered the Talent is Timeless contest, the other Talent is Timeless members, and maybe songwriters over 50 who are tuning into this?
Yeah. Well, I'll answer the last one first. I think it is true that your creativity never ends, right? You may be older, but you don't need to think that way, right? You can keep things fresh. You can keep things enjoyable, right? And you can keep things very unique, because you never know what you put out into the world, like I said earlier, who it's going to resonate with and how much, etc. I think that's the most important thing. And otherwise, it's like, there were a lot of entries into this competition. I was the lucky one, and I mean lucky, right? Sometimes what you do works for that day or for those people, right? But I feel like I'm representing all those who wish they had what happened to me. So I want to go in there and enjoy every minute, as I said, and work as hard as I possibly can, because, I'm the one who got to do it. And it's almost like a bit of a responsibility that, if I was someone else, I say, you better damn well enjoy this, right? You better work hard at this because I wanted it, right? So I get that. And I think I know I'm going to do my absolute best to both, again, put out something great and enjoy it.
Oh, Jamie, it's gonna be a beautiful experience. You're gonna have me tearing up constantly on camera and in all the pictures. It's gonna be really difficult. You have a very beautiful song. It was very deserving of being our global winner this year. And Jay and I and the rest of our team can't wait to welcome you to Abbey Road Studios in London later on. So for now, thank you so much for joining me on this interview. Congratulations on your huge win for you and everyone else that would have loved to be sitting where you are right now, and for all the other people that deserve to be sitting where you are as well. I hope we can extend a sense of collaboration and community in, among us people who love songwriting and who make our lives about music and for whom it means so much just to participate in. So congratulations, and we will speak to you soon.
Sounds great. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.